Well, hey folks, Species 7 here. Welcome back to the channel, and, well, as you can see, we are once again making a panicked descent toward an alien planet. Yes, indeed, this is Empyrion Galactic Survival. And, well, the reason we're once again diving towards a new planet is because we have some things to discuss about this game today. It is today, June 12th, 2018. And a rather big day for Empyrion. And so, also a big day for those of us that are great fans of the game, myself included, as I'm sure is obvious to all of my regular viewers. So, what is with June 12th and why is it a big day? Well, it's a big day because today, all of those Alpha 8 experimentals that I have been showing you guys over the last months and months and months and months and months are now culminated in the release of the Alpha 8 stable branch. So in other words, if you log into the game without any worries about having an unstable gameplay experience or lots of buggeries and such showing up and just general nasties, it's no longer that way. This is now the stable branch. So, if you log in, you will be playing the Alpha 8 version. And that's rather an important thing, because if you haven't logged in since, let's say, you know, around the Alpha 7 or 6 versions, well, let me be the first to tell you, this is a completely different animal. Now, I'm going to build myself some tings here. Alright, let's quickly get this guy together. And I see we have enough plant protein. I don't want to use my fibers, so I'm just going to produce one of those as well. So if you have not played this in the experimental branch, and I don't blame you, I mean it's, well, from those of you that have been following my videos on it, you can see that it's the sort of thing where you're going to be out of the blue having to start again, where one patch would lead to bizarre, you know, terrain deformations or oddities, or just, you know, some of the quest things not working, etc., etc. Well, as I say, if you're coming to this from Alpha 7, you may well think this is almost a different game. The changes are that big. And in fact, one of the big changes is just that. The fact that things are that big. Yeah, one of our main differences is that planets that used to take you 10 minutes to motorcycle around and you know, half an hour to circumnavigate on foot, well, now it would take you days. The planets are huge. The new solar system generator that they're using generates nice big planets, moons, asteroid fields, you name it. So it has that. And it makes a big difference. It really changes how this game plays big time. Another thing with the way the new map works is if you actually go to your map, you don't have an entire planet showing. Right? We have this sort of fog of war system in place now that you actually, you know, you're not going to get to see that if you, you know, you can, sure, you can look at what's over here, you can look at what's at the poles and all of that. But as for any of the details, the mineral deposits, the POIs, no. So you don't have that, you know, definite luxury of just being able to simply zip off towards whatever you may want. Alright. So, let's open our PDA. Here we go. So, personal log file. Alright. Okay, personal log file. PDA info. Okay. And yes. Huh. Okay. So that's rather interesting. That is interesting. They're sort of, I think, at this point showing you how to do the completing mission thing if the missions don't come through. Because there was that issue where you went to the alien tower, and although you could get everything to work, when it got to the last bit, there was an issue. The aliens wouldn't spawn all the time, which would allow the mission to not complete. So to allow the mission to complete, they're showing you how to go in there and do the PDA. Now, I mean, I showed how to complete that particular mission, but it's nice they're including it in the tutorial, which is known as the Robinson Protocol, by the way, if you're wondering what that is all about. So, let's head off towards this wreckage. Other changes. There used to be walls in the game, and it was because of the way the worlds were generated. If you got too close to the North Pole or South Pole, you discovered they didn't actually exist. What existed was a barrier. And that barrier was there because basically the worlds before were a flat sheet that was twisted into a globular shape, a spherical shape, I guess would be a better description. And that's not the way it works now. Now it is an actual sphere. So we have a North Pole and a South Pole. And you can, in fact, cross those poles. If that's what, you like it doing, you can certainly do that now. Whereas, like I said, before you would simply run into a barrier and you would have to follow it around until it was a barrier no more. Other things with the map. We now have proper biomes based on where you are on the map. I.e., if you're hanging around the equator, as we are right now, you can see it's 27 wonderful degrees. This is Celsius, of course, by the way. For those of you in non-metric countries, that would be, well, pretty darn warm. If we were to stray north, we would find the temperatures would constantly go down, and we would also be affected more by weather. There would be more rain, etc., etc. And same thing, if we traveled south, we would eventually reach a point where the weather would start to change towards more pole-like temperatures. So, I wish that was seaweed, but it ain't. So those, again, some more very, very big changes as to how the worlds work. And it's something that you have to keep in mind when you decide where you're actually going to put a base and try and settle for any period of time. So let's just gather a few more resources, because you would like to be... if nothing else, oh, that one's already done, as high a level as you can be by the time you get to putting a base up, so you will... okay, these ones... oh, it is. It's empty. Wonder who's been harvesting my plants. I guess they're just not mature enough yet to pick, that's all. Alright, so biomes and the weather therein, which is kind of a neat thing. We've also had major differences in how terrain works on the map. It wasn't that long ago when you were sort of limited to either flat ground or incredibly high terrain. Now there's everything in between. And again, this adjusts with the biomes, making a much more believable, livable world. Alright, let's continue on here. Well, hello, Mr. Dexter. Good to hear from you, young fella. Ooh, these things are huge, but you know what? They will actually... do you mind? Crazy thing. They'll actually give you enough rock to pretty much build a base. So yes. So yeah, along with the terrain changes, we've also, as I said, we have weather. And weather has an effect, because temperature has an effect on you now. If you get too cold, your stamina won't regenerate properly, you'll have health issues, etc., etc. And speaking of health issues, this is another thing that has changed a lot in this game since Alpha 7. There are buffs and debuffs all over the place. You know, you can get a debuff from the weather. You know, you get too cold and it will debuff you to the point where your stamina won't build up. You know, and if your stamina stays low all the time, well, things like this, for instance, you can't do, because this burns stamina. And if I run out of stamina, it will simply tell me I don't have enough stamina to do the job. But we're currently... Ooh, 20 crushed stone. See what I mean? Very nice. And another 26. So that's a lot of decent crushed stone. A lot. So, you also get debuffs from enemies. You know, spiders will poison you. Other creatures will attack you and cause fractures. All kinds of things like that. So you have a little more of a strategic way of looking at the enemies. Nice to find silica. It's sometimes a very difficult stone to find on the surface. Oh, come on now, Dexter. Don't be a pest. That's a good boy. Alright, well here's our second wreckage. Excellent. Another thing that has been updated a lot, and it was a reason why a lot of people really didn't groove real loud on this game. And I mean, I don't blame them, but by the same token, it's... Well, maybe it can be put down to a slightly... I'm not going to say mistake, but maybe a slightly poor choice on the part of the developers. And that is when it comes to the actual combat and how the AI reacts to it. Which, unfortunately, until almost the last part of Alpha 8, could be summed up quite simply by, well, they don't. No, there was very little weight on either end to the combat. You know, what you used as weapons didn't feel impactful, and when you used them, what they hit didn't particularly feel like it was very impactful either. So, between the two, that's not the best combination you can come up with. Well, let's see if I can find this guy. There he is. You always want to watch for these on bases, because they'll have things like this, refined pentaxid. You'll also find some of your other energy sources in there that you don't normally have access to until much later. So whenever you come across a wreckage, look for those silver tubes. One of the caps on one end or the other will contain what you need. And then, of course, well, spoiled food. We'll take it anyway, just because we are going to take the container. And I always take the containers because they're only a 100 hit point object, but they'll give you 4 steel plates. Whereas something like this is 250, it will give you 1. That's 500, it will give you 1. So yeah, all in all, if you want some steel plates, make sure you break up the boxes after you empty them, because they are an excellent source for just that. And it looks like that's about all there is in this one. Alrighty. Let's move along. Alright. So yeah, the enemies have been well, they're not perfect. And like I said, this may be a little bit of a mistake on the part of the developers. They really waited a long time to get any of the AI to kind of be AI as opposed to just, you know, standing targets, more or less, which is kind of what was going on, to be honest with you. They now do react to being hit. There are nice visual indicators, such as blood spatters, etc., which, I mean, is a common way of doing that. So yeah, that's again a big improvement in what's going on with the development of the game. Now, I say it might have been a little bit of an odd choice on the part of the developers, because I think a lot of people walked away from Empyrion early on, simply because there was so much neat stuff. And then you'd finally run into an enemy, and it was like, ugh. You know, this is just, wow. You know, the rest of the game may have felt early access, but the AI felt like it was just placeholder, you know. And again, for a long, long way into the development of the game, it felt like little less than a placeholder, which is not good, you know. A combat is a part of this game, and it's a rather large part. Survival would not be what it is in this game without the combat aspect. So yeah, I'm very happy to say that it's not, you know, first-person shooter type impactful yet, and in all honesty, it has a long way to go. You know, and it's someone perhaps playing Empyrion for the first time on Alpha 8 might still go, wow, the combat is not great, you know, compared to most other stuff, even other stuff in this genre. But it makes up for it in lots of other ways. And as I said, I think that was just, you know, a developer's decision that, you know, let's try and get us a decent working, very involved world, and then we'll start to populate it with things that will, you know, keep you on your toes. And it seems to be the way they've gone. But again, for people that are very combat-centric when it comes to this type of game, I think it, you know, probably really upset a lot of people, though, that particular decision. And may have, well, have driven a lot of people from the game. But again, there have been so many changes that if you're in that boat, I would really suggest you come back to it. You know, again, the combat is not perfect. Not by a long means. I mean, there's, you know, there's MMOs that handle combat better than this game does, even still. However, if you happen to try it back in one of the earlier alphas, boy oh boy, are you in for a very, very pleasant surprise. Boom. Nice that I found another silicon. Stuff is needed and tough to get early on. So, we don't seem to be, no, we're still getting 150 points a pop for them. I just thought I would have gone up an XP or two by now. Now, they are, of course, going to be immediately, well, not immediately, but pretty darn close to it, starting the development on Alpha 9. Obviously, that's why you clear 8 up and get it out there into the open branch, is so you can start your next development cycle. Oof, you freaked me out, dude. Okay, I know you're not aggressive unless I decide to mess with you. And right now, it would mean using this thing. And frankly, I might as well just wiggle my fingers at you. I don't think it's really a good weapon. It does have a defensive mode, but yeah. There we go. We've reached level 3. Nice. I would like to be a level 5, actually, but there you are. Excuse me. And you can see the actual diversity here as we slip from one biome to another. You know, this is a marsh biome, so we're going to find different plants we haven't yet harvested. Like here's some wild green. The first time we've run across that, you know. And then there are other plants that will go across various biomes, like these buds. I think I've found these in 3 different biomes so far. you can sort of... They're also logically grouped into those biomes. You know, like this is a fairly damp biome, being the swamp. The forest biome, you'll also find them, and the deep forest, you'll also find them. They are all have the fact in common that they are rather damp places. If you go into the deserts, the savannas, you will not find them. So, there you are. And another thing that I haven't been doing, but I can't stress, is unless you want to end up with a bunch of piles of this, always try to use your food as you get it. So, we have 2 of these we can make. And we also have... What do we got there? Ooh. Buds, huh? Okay, this takes buds. We can make 5 of these. And then we've got a couple of these. Unfortunately, you can only queue up 2 items at a time. So, let's get our foodstuffs sorted a little bit while we're waiting for that. There we go. Excellent. Alright, so we also want to queue up 2 of these. Nice. Because I don't want to end up this all being piles of spoiled food, you know? That doesn't do us any good. Let's get some of our health-related items down here then as well, shall we? Nice. You can go up there because you're going to go into the first machine we make. Same with all of these. There we go. And the rest of this is simply food schnuffs. And we'll add this to here. Stimulants. 3. So we can produce 1 of those. Alrighty. Now let's carry on. I just don't like to see the stuff all go spoiled. Now, I mean, there is a use for spoiled goodies, but yeah, we don't want everything to end up there. And it will quite quickly. One thing I found that they haven't quite... I don't know that I would say they haven't sorted it yet in the game, but one feature that I do find a little off-putting is the fact that if you collect, let's say, 20 plant proteins, and the first ones you collected are getting down to, you know, very close to their spoil level, when they spoil, everything in that stack goes at the same time. I mean, it's really bothersome that you lose that many that quickly, but I suppose by the same token, if you were to consider that all of these things are stacked together and something goes rotten, I suppose in reality, I guess everything around it would kind of, you know, rot very quickly as well, because now it actually is exposed to those particular spores, etc. So let's keep collecting here, working our way towards the wreckage. Now, something I like to do as soon as we get to this wreckage, and it's going to help you a lot. Now, we're 5 seconds away from being dark timed here. That's not good. I definitely need more of those because I'm going to need a biofuel. So never pass up plant fiber. Until you can build yourself a chainsaw, there's no other way to get biofuel. And of course, even a chainsaw requires a can of biofuel to run. Now, occasionally you'll get to pick up biofuel at one of the wreckage sites, but that's random. You know, the only thing I think that isn't random with the wreckage sites is this yellow one will ensure that things like your motorcycle is there. Ah, there we are. We've also just found our first copper deposit. So we should also find an iron and hopefully promethium deposit as well. Or silicon, I should say. We will not find promethium out here in the middle of nowhere. I've also not found any iron rock yet, which is rather disturbing. There's an iron deposit, and that's excellent, but we can't run a drill either until we get some other kit in place. So, let's just keep heading towards the wreckage as the sun goes further and further. There's our silicon deposit. Okay, so we've got copper, iron, and silicon. Which is excellent. All right. I want to make sure we have enough crushed stone to actually get a base happening when it comes time for that. A little bit too dark for foraging now. We can't see a lot of the stuff. But I'll certainly grab what I can. Because again, it's a great experience, if nothing else. Even if you can't use all of the products first time around, you will find them again. And in the meantime, boom, 150 experience every time you click one of them. And I really would like to be closer to a level 5 than a level 3 on the getting to this base. But we'll see how it goes. Here we are. Search through the wreckage, pick up everything you can find. We will do just that. Just that indeed. The other thing we're going to do is try and quickly put an armor locker down and build a suit of armor. You can see we've gone from being the very upper end of what our electric pajamas will take to the very lower end now that the sun has departed. So, I've been on this one before. This is actually a decent little base. The locker should be right here. Alrighty, and everything we need. Oof. Okay, you come here, and you come in here. Alright, let's immediately get that guy placed. Okay, let's get some materials in there. Yeah, we might as well throw all of these things in, because we don't need to be doing it from our own kit anymore. Our survival tent we will put down just to get rid of the night. Okay, now I need to quickly, well, we'll put this guy down, as I say. There we go. Now let's have a look at our tech tree. Alright. Okay, armor locker. We're not yet level 5. So, I definitely want to reach that point first. We have to make a level 5. Okay. We will, however, do this. Unlock the shoddy. And unlock the assault. And again, we've got to make level 5 so I can unlock my armor. That's why I kind of like to be at this level by the time we get here. Alright, let's have a look in here. We want to produce biofuel. Now it takes 10 plant fibers. And we don't have any wood, so we're going to get to produce 1 biofuel. That's not great, but let's get it built. And then we are going to build ourselves a chainsaw and a pistol and some rounds. And that'll be a good start. Another thing they've changed is that you can now sleep through the night. Not only can you sleep through the night, but if we open this up, we see that this is now all done. So, lovely. Alright. We are in a much better position now. Yes, definitely. Okay. Natural stimulants. Alright, we've got one of these we can produce. Although we could make meat out of it. Yeah, let's do that, because we do have... and then we'll turn the meat into a grilled steak. There we go. And we'll produce another one of these. Okay. There's a little bit of munchies for us. Alright, let's get our drill built. Okay. Well, let's get you reloaded. And let's do the same for the chainsaw. Nice. Alright. Alright, I'm going to start gathering some supplies, guys. I just, like I said, I wanted to let you guys know that we are now, as of June 12th today, officially running this as the normal game for Empyrion. So again, if you haven't played for a while, I really, really recommend that you give it another go. I think you'll be quite pleasantly surprised. It is still, in my opinion, one of the best survival games, and certainly one of the best in the science fiction type survival. So, there you go. Hope everybody enjoyed. If you did, well, you know what to do. Please leave a like. Don't forget to comment and let me know what you think, because we will be seeing lots more of this game as the days go by. So there you are, guys. Take care of each other, and ciao.